If you feel like you don't know your life mission or your purpose in life, this video is for you. Because most men today don't realize they're not actually addicted to porn or smoking or drinking or gambling, but what they're actually addicted to is being distracted. Because being distracted numbs the pain of not knowing your life's purpose. So in this video, we're going to break down vices and how they are interrupting God's voice from speaking to you. And then we're going to talk about what we can do to take a step forward. Because we know on this channel, knowledge doesn't become wisdom until it meets practical application. Man, oh man, oh man. Man, I don't even gotta say it. I know y'all see these pictures right here. And these didn't even take me that long. Hopefully they look like they did, but I'm proud of these ones right here, man. Men today are not lazy. They're lost. They have no idea how to provide for themselves, so they have no idea how to provide for a woman or for society. The men today, let's be real, we're not equipped. They weren't given us tools that they need to go out to be leaders and productive masculine men in society. All school trains us is how to be workers, how to be the next generation of slave workers. All your parents taught you are what they were taught. And as you go further and further up in the generations, the brainwashing gets deeper and deeper until now, today, we have no idea how to provide. Because we're so occupied with trying to find some money, trying to pay bills, trying to do this and that our brain has no time to sit still. Our brain has no time to shift into creator mode. Our brain has no time to let God speak to us. And we have no time because the world gives us so many distractions. Distractions come in the form of drugs, substance abuse, alcoholism, porn addiction, gambling addiction, hypersexualization. All of these things are a product of not having your vision. Because when you don't have a life vision, you don't have a purpose, your brain just has a bunch of empty space. And when you let society fill it with nothing but social media, TV programming, music programming, this is what you result to. This is why people have so many vices. It's so common to have, oh, everyone has a vice. Yes, because everyone does have something that they're leaning a little bit too much on. But as black men, we tend to make it these things right here. Things that not only destroy you internally, but thus destroy your finances and destroy you externally in your ability to provide for your family. Because the world gives distractions, God gives assignments. But when your brain is preoccupied by this thing, you have no time to receive from God. And a man who has no time to receive his mission from God will ultimately crash out because he's unstable. That's why we have so many crash outs today, because they're unstable. And James chapter 1 verse 8 tells us a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So a man who's obsessed with what the world gives him, a man who's consumed by these alcoholism and these destructive patterns, he has no time for God because God has no way to speak to him because his brain's preoccupied. And we have to understand something. We're not waiting on God. We're not waiting on him to come down and give us a blessing. God is waiting on us. He's waiting on us to quiet the voices, quiet all the noise in our head, because right now it's too noisy for most of us. Your brain is too occupied. Anytime you have a silent period in your life, you have some sense of stillness, you call it boredom. And now you're so restless that you can't just sit and be at peace. So you have to fill it with the substance. You have to fill it with gambling or watching something. You have to go masturbate even. You have to fill it with something that's detrimental to you. See, if you're like me, you weren't indoctrinated to believe certain religious things from a child. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. But for me, it was great because I got to grow up and understand why the Bible, why the Quran, why all these religions teach you not to partake in these things. It's not because, God didn't, because you can find scriptures in the Bible that support drinking. You can find things in the Bible that he tells us he gave us dominion over the land, the sea, and everything in between. So you can find something to support all of your vices, right? But if you really understand, the Bible tells us not to partake in these things because it takes up our mental space. And our mental space is where God talks to us. So if your brain is too high, if you're too drunk, if you're too obsessed with a game and you're gambling, or if you're too wrapped up in porn, you spend hours watching porn, then you have no time for God to speak to you. So these things take you further away from God because they mute his voice in your head. Because if you're always high, you're always scrolling, you're always overstimulated. And the Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21, that God will speak to you through a voice in your head, and you just have to listen. But if your voice in your head is too drunk, your voice in your head is too busy right now, your voice in your head is too angry because you just lost a bet, then you have no time for God. So God has no time for you. Whether you know it or not, you and God are like this. Y'all locked in. He's trying to speak to you, but you're not picking up the phone. He's calling, but you got something else on the line. Now, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a minister, and I'm not telling you to stop all your vices. But what I am telling you is if you partake in anything, you need to have these 3 S's wrapped into them. Now, I call these the 3 S's of sovereignty. The first S is solitude, because God only speaks to you when you're alone. I'm gonna just be real. Like I said, I was not raised in a religious, such a strict religious structure that I just constantly thought I knew everything there is to know about God. So when people came to me or talked to me and they said God spoke to me or God was talking to me, I was always confused. Always so confused. How can God speak to you? He's not coming down to your door knocking, hey, I need to talk to you. He's not coming to you sending a text message, so how is God speaking to you? And then as I got older, I realized God speaks to you through solitude, through that voice in the back of your head like I told you about. A lot of people minimize things and call it the conscience or deja vu or something. No, this is God speaking to you. God is trying to get through to you and get you signs. But He only operates when you're in solitude. Then the second S of this system, the second S to sovereignty, the second S to sovereignty is silence. Because it's not enough to just be alone with God. You also need to be silent. Yes, it's great to make alone time, but why do you have alone time and you have music playing? You have alone time, but you're watching a movie on Netflix. You have alone time, but you're sports betting. Your alone time needs to be filled with nothing but silence. And that might sound crazy, but it's true. When your alone time is filled with nothing but silence, that's when God is right there with you. That's when I told you and God are like this. But this is how He operates. This is His system. Because when you're alone and you're silent, you're in a meditative state. I'm no one's minister. I'm no one's life coach. So I'm not telling you that you need to cut out your vices. That's up to you. That's something that you need to work on within yourself. But if one of your vices is to, let's say, have a glass of wine at night, you need to have your glass of wine in solitude. Make intentional time to be alone. And then when you're having your glass of wine, I know it's cool to have the vibes on, but no music. No music, no TV. It's you and God in silence. And then the third S to sovereignty, third S of this system, the third S to take God off of mute is to study. And that's probably the biggest one. Because when you're alone with God and when you're silent and you're just meditating and you're allowing Him to speak to you and through you, you need to write that stuff down. You need to be able to hold on to this, because when you go out into the world tomorrow, when you're faced with all these challenges and things are thrown your way and stuff is popping up left and right, you need something to go back to. That's why you have to have something written down so you can study, so you can say, I remember God told me this. God gave me this vision. God put this on my heart. This is where I'm at today. But if you don't have any documentation of it, it's like you never did it. So if you're not studying it, if you don't have a journal documenting this stuff, then it's pointless. Now you can have a journal just like this. This is my journal. I document everything, either my YouTube videos, my affirmations, my goals, my visions, my revelations from my meditations. They all go in this journal. You need to have one as well. And if you need a disciplined, more structured journal, that one that provides this type of system for you, my book, Iron Mind, Iron Will, is dropping this week. So that journal right there will come equipped with 90 days of daily commands, daily Bible scriptures, and daily masculine affirmations, something to put at the front of your mind to go out and attack the day. And after every week, on the 7th day, God rested, right? So on the 7th day of every week in the 90-day journal will be a day of rest, where it's a deep, reflective journal prompt for you to reflect on your week and how you're operating moving forward. And then after every 30 days, there'll be a longer one that's designed for you to connect with it. But the key detail on every one of those 90 daily pages will be a mission. And one of those 90 missions from the daily missions in my journal is the 5-minute mute. 5 minutes. I want you to wake up early tomorrow. Take 5 minutes to just sit completely still with your eyes closed, no music, no anything. And I want you to ask God for an assignment. Ask God to put 5 words on your heart to go throughout the day. A 5-word assignment, because if you're not someone who meditates often, it will be difficult. To meditate for even 5 minutes will be difficult. But if you can achieve 5 minutes of stillness and you ask God for a 5-word mission, I guarantee He will give it to you. It could be something as simple as use your voice more today. And you take those 5 minutes and keep them at the front of your mind for the rest of the day. And then you'll come back later and do the third S, study. You'll write it down in a journal. How did it go? What did you achieve from keeping this at the front of your mind? What would you not have thought of if this wasn't at the front of your mind? These type of things, these type of daily practices will strengthen your connection between you and God to where you'll be able to hear Him speak to you at any time. These are direct practices from my journal. Do this for 3 days. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. If it resonates with you, the link is in the description and in all the descriptions of all my videos. Because when you do these things, you will start to manifest. You will start to have a deeper connection with God to where you can hear Him and align your steps properly. So, because there are 3 levels of existence: spiritual, mental, and physical. And you have to be tied in with Him spiritually because it plays into the other 2. So when you become tied in with Him, you're going to start going on this journey. And you have to be careful not to make 4 masculine mistakes. A black masculine man tends to make these 4 mistakes right here. So click the video if you want to know how to avoid them and take control of your life.